himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so knew off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here, but I just want to see how Alistair Hay deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
coming down.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still slot chopper. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Premier Endurance Racing League's GT4 Championship. And tonight, after 2 rounds from Formula 1 circuits, we'll head to a lesser-known American gem. When you go to America for racing, when you go to America for sports car racing, everyone knows COTA, everyone knows Road America, everyone knows Watkins Glen. But this one right here, this is always a priority on my calendar. And as we get set for the real-world Petit Le Mans, which will be coming our way in only a couple weeks' time, it's time for Premier's Endurance GT4 action from the tight, twisty layout that is Road Atlanta. Scott Rankin and James Parfitt in the booth here tonight. JP, it's a pleasure to bring this one to you. GT4 action, not common in terms of a sim racing perspective from this track, better known for its multi-class racing with prototypes and GT3 cars.
Yeah, this track is an interesting one with Road Atlanta as well, especially in GT4s. You know, you got the fast right-hander at the beginning of the circuit as well with Road up into turn 1, and of course you go up into the blind left to 2 and 3. But I think one of the interesting things we are going to have to pay attention to, and the drivers are going to have to pay attention to as well, is the tricky turn 5. And that's where the problem's going to lie for some of these drivers. They're going to have to be careful, because if they hit that outside curb on the exit of 5, unfortunately, round they're going to go, and that's going to cause a problem for some of them. I'm expecting a few incidents there, but we'll see how they get on as well. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race for sure as well. We've got nearly 30 cars on the circuit, so let's see what happens here once more.
Yeah, an hour worth of racing action due to come your way. Qualifying's about halfway through. Unfortunately, an issue with session setup has restricted the drivers to their first lap is the only lap that the drivers will get, which means that all drivers are effectively competing on cold tires, and they don't get the option to cycle back through and reset. No drivers currently out on circuit setting a fresh lap time at this point in time. I think everyone's just in a little bit of race preparation mode. Sometimes it's good. You know, I've seen a lot of drivers with different strategies. A lot of drivers like to run it all the way up to the last few seconds of qualifying. They want to be on their hot lap when that checkered flag flies and come through to finish that one. But in a layout like this is also important, particularly for an endurance race. It's a reset. It's a refresh for these drivers as well. And any bathroom breaks are required. Get the fluids into you. Have everything ready to go and on standby. So it's a great opportunity for everyone to reset and make sure that they're ready for an hour's worth of racing action.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to. Well, to be honest, get a drink, if anything else. Take a bottle of water, put it next to your desk. If you're old like me, you're going to need to go to a toilet, because we can never generally last an hour without needing a loo. I'm not going to lie. As you get older, Scott, you know, mid-40s, you don't always
I'm not there yet.
You don't always get through the hour. You know what I mean? So for them, it's going to be an interesting one. I think that's the thing. They've just got to sit back, chill out and relax. Now, a lot of drivers have set their lap times already. We've got Andrew Dutch at the top on a 1:25.49. Nobody else out on quali as well. We haven't got any times from Ricky, Damian Lee, Martin Hanlon, Mark Foster, Matt, Cameron Edwards, Matthew Norris, Scott Barr and Pete. So we'll have to see how they go as well. But I think at the moment, they're going to... The first run down from turn 7, which is the double right-hander at the left-hand side of the track map there, you can see, that's going to be important, because they've got to try and get the cars stopped at the end, which is technically 10A and 10B. We won't talk about Americans numbering track corners, but at the end of the day, half of it's not even a corner going down there. You know, down from 7, you've got 8 and 9, and then 10A and 10B. Aren't they really corners?
It's just a long... It's a long weaving straight. Do you consider Curva Grande at Monza to be a corner?
Well, I don't know, to be honest. It's the same at Road America as well. You know, turn 2 is in the middle between 1 and 3, and it's not really a corner. It's just a...
It's not even a kink. You don't really turn the wheel for it. That's the difference, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that they do love numbers. So we'll go from 7 to 10A. But honestly, me and Scott can count. All right, we haven't missed it. It's just
whoa. Hang on,
really
let's back up. Before you throw some more sass at the Americans and their oval shenanigans, I want you to know that I'm an oval mainstay. That's my. I wouldn't say it's my preferred discipline, but I would say it's probably the discipline I'm better at. So let's not go diving too deep and giving them too much harassment. Do love some. I was about to say as well with the bathroom reference. You can tell you've never done a Bristol 500.
No, I wouldn't last that long, mate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know,
I'd
single driver.
It's never going to happen. I'd have to go into the pits and then run to the loo. That's
what a lot of drivers do in those longer format races. So yeah, already shout outs to say don't mess with Curva Grande. Curva Grande needs to keep its number. I agree. I think it's a curve. Whether or not turn 2 at Road America is actually turn 2 at Road America, that's for debate, and that will be debated to the end of time. It's listed on most track maps as a turn. And I guess at the end of the day, I think what we've got to do is we've got to govern by what the circuit designers come up with. If they say that turn 2 at Road America is indeed a turn, well, they built the thing, they get to say that.
Well, that's the thing. You know, Biggles has put in chat as well. You know, let's pick on turn 2 out of Red Bull. Is it really a turn going up the hill into 3? You know, there's a lot of things.
Well, if you're a MotoGP fan,
well, yeah,
it's turn 2 and turn 3.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, if you're on a bike, I don't know. I give up after time.
You know that they added the chicane for MotoGP there at the Red Bull Ring, yeah?
Yeah, but it's still, you know, that's all I'm going to say. it's
Commentary tonight has... We've started off on the right foot.
Well, that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, we can be here, as I say, till the test of time, arguing about corner names, corner turns, and are they not? Can they be? Will they be? No, just that's all I'm going to put. All right, whoever it's 7 to 10, and that for me, Scott does it. You know what I mean? 7 to 10, end off.
Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, the benefits of being a motor racing fan, it's a little bit different to football, shall we say. It's a little bit different to tennis. There's a lot of things to debate over, whether or not a turn is a turn, whether or not oval racing should be classified as racing. They are all of the things that we get to enjoy. I actually enjoyed a podcast last night, by the way, I'll have you know, JP, and we spent hours debating just random little bits and nitty grits. Racing people are my people. We love to debate the nitty gritty about everything, and we love to put out technical directives that adjust rule sets and those sorts of things. What we need to know heading into this race is how qualifying has panned out. You already mentioned Andrew Dutch is sitting at the top of the pile at the moment. Owen Coleman will slot into P2. Chris Pellet and Alan Dawson, 4 Mercedes out of the top 5. Then, surprisingly, new entrant to the series, Ray Oliver, is going to be sitting there in P5 in the BMW. The first of the McLarens immediately behind him, Matthew Carrig in the Riot Sim Racing. How many of them? It's half the field, basically, at any point in time. Adrian Gresh will be the first of the Porsches. He's in 8th. Jacob Hughes also in a Porsche, or the Pork Sword as he prefers it to be known. And Daniel Magri is going to round out your top 10 in another Mercedes. First of the Aston Martins all the way back in 11. The Aston Martin in the GT4 class is not one of the most loved cars at the moment, JP. And well, if it's sitting down in 11th and that's the fastest that it can get out of there, you can sort of see why the Aston, but they're a beautiful car, the Astons.
They are. Now, the problem with the Aston Martin isn't the fact that it's a bad car. The gearing on it is a little bit funky. And that's what causes a lot of people the problem. It's not the car itself. It's certain turns with the gearing. Now, the gearing on the Aston Martin is quite interesting. And it runs almost, you get to where, so let's put it into perspective. So if you get to a corner in a Mercedes and you've got to go second, you try and do that in the Aston Martin, it's not going to work. If you go third in the Aston Martin, you're going to be running 2 higher revs. So it's almost, you need to be in gear 2.5. And I don't ever remember seeing a car with a gear of 2.5, but they do. It's that middle ground with the Aston Martin. You've either got to be really slow and try and get the fast exit, or you've got to try and go in faster to keep the revs up to be able to get out the corner. It's a very funky car to drive, and as I say, it's not everybody's favourite cup of tea. And I think that's the problem with it. And that could explain, why we've only got 3 in the field and everybody else is in the Mercs, pretty much. So
I would say Aston's probably got my favourite dash of the lot. I was actually at 2 weekends ago. I was at Sandown Motor Raceway, which is where the endurance racing was in the V8 supercars last weekend. It was the weekend before that. Got invited down there to go be a part of, or at least join and learn a lot more about the production car classes in real life. And I was invited down there by the category manager, actually, at the GT4 Australia. McLaren is a very, very beautiful car, but my biggest gripe about the McLaren is that they have the dual radiators either side of the doors. They're plastic. They're plastic radiator tanks right in front of a wheel. If you're going to make car-to-car contact, which did happen to the McLaren that I was watching, I was there that weekend, it just went straight through a radiator. It's not a metal. If it was a metal radiator, a little bit of beating, a little bit of banging, cars back together, back you go. You'd never be leaking fluid absolutely everywhere. But no, plastic radiator, which is not all that great for Australian-style GT racing, shall we say, with a little bit more door banging than I think you Poms and the Yanks are generally used to.
Yeah, we don't. We get a little bit, but we don't get quite as much as that.
No.
Now that kind of confuses me and doesn't really make make me wonder why they would stick plastic on a car like that. But at the end of the day, I suppose I'm sure they're weight saving or being cheap. You know what I mean?
Something like that. It's center of gravity for sure.
Yeah.
Have a part to play.
It's either that or they couldn't afford to put it on $1 million car anyway. I'm not sure, to be honest, Scott. I think it's all a little bit bizarre.
Most of the cars in this category are actually around 200, 250k when they're bought brand new.
That's all right. I'll just pull it out. It's like pocket change. I carry that around on a daily basis, mate. Do you not?
Yeah, but for the cost of a GT3 car, you can have 5 of them. You can run your entire stable full of GT4 racing and have leftover T cars.
Well, yeah, but I still, look, let's face it, motor racing's expensive at the end of the day. I was watching the F1 earlier on, and they cost an absolute fortune. So I don't know. Look, it's really weird how some things, right? Some things they do things, some things they don't, and some things they should, and some things they shouldn't, and then they just do something completely different. So be all and end all, the McLaren's got plastic grates on it and plastic radiator covers, and it goes through it and blows up a lot.
I've been informed that if we end up with a little bit somewhat of a dry race, that we need to debate blue flags, James. So I'll keep that one in the back pocket.
No, you don't want to get me on that. Because you will, it will be, as Biggle said, a 6-hour podcast. So let's just put it that way. But there's the grid for you, sir.
It's absolutely one of the things that will be debated, like corners and whether or not corners are valid. It will be debated to the end of time about blue flags and what is the best way to be appropriated. And every single racing car driver will have their own decision. We'll walk you through the qualifying results over the next 5 minutes whilst the drivers get a small warm-up session.
Warm up to finish.
We've got to wait?
Yeah, we've got to wait.
My
and then
apologies.
We'll bring it up. No, that's all right. That's my bad, because I thought they were going to come up, but unfortunately they are not. So we do have to wait until the warm-up has finished here before we can give you them. Blue flags are a wonderful conversation, I'm not going to lie. It's something that completely drives me crazy, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. These guys are going to go out and do some warm-ups. We get to see all these wonderful cars here as well. And Stefan Mellis in the McLaren, as we were talking about there as well. So does the GT4 McLaren that you looked at, does it look like the one we've got here?
Yes, I believe this is actually the 2020 version of the McLaren. It was actually the 2020 version that I was looking at. If you actually grab an onboard shot of this car, I can tell you that literally as they roll out from the factory down to the right there, that dash on the right hand side where it's being fed out, that is exactly what it's like in the race car. All of this is identical. About the only things they add is the telemetry and fire extinguisher things over in the floor on the right hand side of the car. That's about the only tweak that they make to this McLaren. As you buy it out of the shop, race ready. Just about.
Right. And it's still a lot of money anyway. So,
yeah. Look, I never said I was buying one of them. I just said it was there and I was sitting in somebody else's one. And,
at the end of the day, I couldn't afford one. We were in London and there was a McLaren dealership. right? And my son was staring at one through the window, and I literally knocked on the door because I went to walk in because he wanted to have a look around, right? Because, you know, it's not every day you see a supercar in front of you. So I went to walk in and the door was locked. I knocked on the door. The woman went, "Do you have an appointment?" I went, "No." I said, "But my son likes the car." "Oh, all right. Well, we normally do appointment only." I was like, "Well, I don't have one." She was like, "Okay, come in and have a look." So we had a look. She goes, "I can't let you in long, though, because I've got a businessman who's made an appointment who wants to buy that car." This car was over 450 grand. It was exceedingly kitted out, exceedingly low, and exceedingly bleeding expensive. But she was like, "Yeah, I can give you 5 minutes because I do have an appointment turning up." I was like, right. My son was like a kid, you know, he thought it was the best thing in the world looking around this black McLaren. It was absolutely insane. But yeah, 450 grand and you have to go and make an appointment only. So there you go. If you want to buy one, you got to make an appointment, Scott.
Go to the racetrack. Take him to the racetrack instead of the dealership. 2 reasons. Number 1, you're going to get him involved in grassroots motorsport, and that'll open his eyes. And number 2, the drivers there are generally actually like, yeah, go on, jump in, have a look around, see if you want. It was owned by, I don't know if you've ever heard of the group in Australia known as Speed Cafe.
No.
Australian media organisation. They're independent. So I was down there, obviously, with a few guys from there. The owner of Speed Cafe actually owned this McLaren, and he said, it was a little bit cold at Sandown. Melbourne weather, it's a bit like British weather. If anything, Melbourne is better at British weather than Britain. Another debate that I'm sure will rage until the end of time. But we got the very best of the cold, miserable Melbourne weather the weekend that we were down there. He said he had the AC on running down the back straight in the middle of the practice session just because he was a little bit cool, wanted to warm up a little bit. So like I said, they literally roll out of the dealership like that, ready to go. If you want to drive it around the street, Bob's your uncle. If you want to get it done for the track, add some telemetry gear, add a fire extinguisher, add some radio communication, you've got a race car.
Lovely. Still out of my pay bracket, mate. You know what I mean?
Can I introduce you on the Toyota 86?
Yeah. Can I have a Mini Cooper? Or, you know, a Leaf or something, you know, something a little bit smaller that's in my car budget, shall we say. But yeah, definitely.
I am very, very jealous of the Caterham series. Very jealous that we don't have something like that out here.
See, that's cool. I do like little Caterham 7s, and you can do them for not a lot of money, so they're not too bad for grassroots racing. I'm not going to lie, but I was up with Radical Motorsport the other month at Silverstone. And we had a full Radical day up there, and we were up there testing out their new Radical car on their simulator, I think, in AC. And we got to have a look around all the Radicals. It was a full, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner day. There you go, everything's laid on for you. And I took my son. He literally cleared the bar out of food. He was loving the fact that everything was free. Bless him. So, yeah, but there we go. Right, we should be able to bring you the grid up. There you go, Scotty, off you go.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be Andrew Dutch. It's been a long time between drinks for Andrew Dutch and Premier Endurance League pole position, but that is one that will count for all the ages. Owen Coleman will be starting off alongside of him in an all-Mercedes front row. Chris Pellet and Alan Dawson will make up your row number 2. These drivers only separated by 0.05 of a second. Ray Oliver, the first of the non-Mercedes cars, and also within the 25.984s. 3 drivers qualified in the 25.984. Ray Oliver's the third of those. First of the cars in the 26.0s, and there'll be 2 of these, is Matthew Carrick, followed by Stefan Lawrence. Adrian Gresh will be off alongside of Stefan Lawrence. Jacob Hughes and Daniel Magri round out an all-right sim racing 5th row on the grid. Trent Allen, the first of the Aston Martins and the first of the handmade British cars. Hayden Norris will be off alongside of him on row number 6. Jack Swanepoel and Andrew Proctor out of P13 and P14 as we dip into the 26.4, 26.7s. 2 drivers in the 26.7s. Leith McClimate was the second one of those, and Dean Reddit will start off alongside of him. Alfonso Latella will be in P17, and Stefan Mellis will be alongside of him in 18th. Ronald Long and Jimmy Middleton will round out our top 20 before we get into, sorry, my apologies. You know, it was Ronald Long and Jimmy Middleton. From here on back, we get into the drivers who did not set a qualifying time. Peter Baxter, Scott Bartime will be our pace car driver here this evening in the Porsche 992 Cup car. Makes for a glorious safety car, mind you. Martin Hallinan, Cam Edwards, Ricky Provenzali, Lee Williamson is our race controller. Mark Foster, Damian Taylor, Matthew Bakir, and Matthew Norris are going to round out the 30 cars entered. 28 will be competing here to there for the assistance of stewards and safety car procedures. And dominated by Mercedes, they are a very, very popular V8 engine out here in Australia.
Yeah, I love the Merc. You know, I'm more than happy with a Merc. GT3, GT4s, I do like them. I think they're a nice car. They've got such a lovely sounding engine on them as well. Not everybody's favourite cup of tea, partly because if you're in a longer race, the back end does become Bambi on ice. It doesn't always like sticking to the ground. You've got to be a little bit careful. You've got to treat it a little bit gently, Scott. You can't be hammering it. You've got to feather it in. So let's see what happens here and see how they get on. If we do have any Mercedes going round, well, we know they put their foot too far down on the pedal because you need to be a little bit gentle with them, but you can get them going if you can drive them properly. So let's see how that one goes. BMWs, yeah, again, not everybody's favourite GT4s. The Porsche was come out and it was going to be a dominance and totally run away with everything. And unfortunately here at some circuits, possibly does, and in the UK series that we did last week, it definitely did. But here today, it's not, with the Farrah's first one of Adrian Gretsch sitting in 8th place at the moment as well. So all in all, a very interesting way of car manufacturers. The Mercs at the top, then a BMW, then a McLaren, and then we hit the Porsches after. Who's going to win? Well, I'm going to pick a Mercedes. I just don't know which one yet.
Oh, there's enough of them out there. You get the feeling that it's just about guaranteed. Right, lights are getting ready to go out. We've got 1 hour worth of GT4 action. It looks as if it's going to be a one-stop race for us here this evening, and we are green before those green lights have even come on. It's going to be the lead away from Andrew Dutch. He's looking to box in the rest of the pack immediately behind him, and we'll see how they settle as they run down to turn number 1. Pellet's managed to get down and underneath Owen Coleman as they came through the last corner. They will come through and brush shoulders a little bit argy-bargy down at turn 1, but Coleman will nick it back from Pellet. Dawson will slot into 4th, and they're just about single file as they get to the crest of the hill. Very, very difficult to go side by side through this section of the track.
Yeah, Dutch did what he had to do. He waited and waited and waited. He backed him up until the bridge, and then at that moment he decided he was off around 11 and 12, and Dutch went. He's done what he needs to do. He's opened up half a second at the moment here, currently once more as they are going round 7. Now the interesting thing about all of this is how did people get on at the back? Well, I'm proud to say that they all made it through. There was no dramas at the back of the field. Down here in 12th with Hayden Norris, him and Jacques Swanepoel also made it through. Trent Allen, Daniel Megri gained 1. Jacob Hughes lost 2 positions. He was a little bit slow getting away. Pete Baxter is up 3 as well. So good old Pete. Here we know Pete because he did some commentary with me and he's probably coming later with me as well. Jimmy Middleton just about, and I'm going to say just, hanging on to the back of this pack, and then we've got a 1.7 gap to the guys at the back here as well. Edwards, Mellis, Hanlon, Promisali, Taylor, Norris and Foster. It looks a little like Leif McClyman is in the pits here, not entirely sure what happened to him, but Owen Coleman closed the gap down on Dutch, and we're now down to 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, so update on that one. Matthew Beck here has not taken the start of the race, and Leith McClimate started the race from the pit lane. So he gets to eke out just a little bit more in terms of that fuel. Didn't have to do a formation lap, didn't have to do any pacing around, and it meant that he started at the rear of the field, albeit out of all the drama. But he did start without any issues on that one. It was right in the middle of the pack, so he took a decision for safety. In the meantime, Dutch is going to start getting harassed by the right sim racing driver of Owen Coleman. Well, speaking to Jimmy Middleton earlier in the day, he said as well, I think Coleman's going to be very, very tough to beat. The fact that Dutch has gone and pipped him out in qualifying, that's a great start to things. 2 seconds now further back to Dawson as Chris Pellet's actually managed to get by, been overtaken by Alan Dawson. So there'll be a change of position for P number 3, but they'll look to set themselves down on an end. I'm keeping my eye on that BMW of Ray Oliver. BMWs, JP, known for their straight line speed, just like those McLarens.
Yeah, they definitely are. There's been an issue with Stephen Mellis as well. Mellis has unfortunately taken a trip off the side of the circuit. It's coming down into 10A and 10B. So, he got a gentle little nudge there as well. That's actually 6 and 7. So Mellis got a little nudge down there, and unfortunately for Mellis, he has lost a couple of positions. But all in all, it's going really well. Stephen Lawrence flying along quite nicely.
I mean, 3 wide down through 6 and 7. That's not difficult. It's quite difficult to do. And the change in the grass dynamics, that car would have been unrescuable only a couple of weeks ago. But with the change in the iRacing simulation, all of a sudden Stefan Mellis gets a second chance at life. I'm really interested to see how many cars are going to touch the gravel as they come up through turn 5 and over the crest, which has just come through in the background, and have a look at them all scatter as everyone's trying to grab some pace. We'll tell you one thing, I've been doing a little bit of research behind the scenes, and like you mentioned with the UK drivers, the Porsche, I can tell you, the Porsche is the quickest of the cars, but it is far and away the hardest to extract the pace out of. Only the elite can get the pace out of the Porsche, but if they can drive it properly, there is time to be gained by being in the Porsche, or if you're Jacob Hughes, the pork sword.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's one of the things here. Daniel Magri's having a nice little tidy battle here. I tell you that much. With Adrian Grech. Grech's just about to go up the inside of the first entrance. No, he's not. He thought better of it and decided to stay away from that one. But at the moment for Grech, he's pushing Magri along, and Magri's hanging on here. But Magri's getting held up from Matt Carrick in front in that McLaren. Oh. Magri! No, son, it goes the other way. Stay off that little bit of an area here as we're going into turn 1. We're going to go up the hill. Interesting thing, point it at the second tree, because if you don't point it at the second tree, you ain't going to make the corner. That's your marker for your line. That's what they've got to do up through turn 2. If they don't do that, they're going to miss turn 2 and turn 3 completely.
I tell you what, this has all backed them all up onto Adrian Grech, and Adrian Grech just got a wiggle on coming down the hill as well, and this has allowed Jacob Hughes to come on the back of this one. Grech was offline now as they head up through turn 5. One Riot Sim Racing car is going to come on through. It's going to be 2 because Hayden Norris is right there to take advantage, and then the British paint of Trent Allen is right there as well and looking to take advantage. So one little mistake, it's going to be another one now from Hayden Norris, and so many places swapped in just a handful of corners on their slap, and here comes Swanepoel in the background as well. He's going to have a chunk of the action as well.
Yeah, Jacques going to try and run him down here once more, down into 10A. He's got to be looking at the other side. Get down on him, get on that inside line. That outside line doesn't always work here, Jacques. So if you're going to send it, son, you've got to do it on the inside. You've got to try and run him in, try and get the exit out of 10B and go around the outside on the run down 11 and 12. Didn't quite get him this time. Magri did manage to get Carrick, so Carrick is now behind Magri, and Jacob Hughes has got to have a go once more. Ronald Long, Cameron Edwards have just swapped places with Ricky Provenzali on the inside there as well. He's going round and trying to get onto the back of the BMW of Cameron Edwards. Ricky's making moves at the moment. He's up 6, one of the biggest gainers. Matthew Norris up 8. So let's see how this one works out. But this group here with Hayden Norris, Trent Allen, Adrian Grech, Matt Carrick, Jacob Hughes are getting feisty. So let's see what happens.
And we just spoke about this group just a moment ago, and you said Matthew Carrick led the way. Well, Carrick got down through turn 1 and lost 2 spots, so he's made another little mistake. All of these guys are starting to fall back from our lead 3. Our lead 3 have broken away a little bit, and there has been a change for the race lead as well. Owen Coleman will now lead the way on the right sim racing entry, and Andrew Dutch has dropped back into second. Dawson's going with them, and Ray Oliver's managed to get by dropping Chris Pellet. So Chris Pellet is slowly going backwards, and I've just heard a message. There might be a safety car in a few moments here. Somebody's backwards, and it's between turn 5 and turn 6, and this will tell the story.
Yeah, Reddit has made a mistake. He is off at the side of the circuit, just trying to go back far enough to see how he ended up pointing that way there. So give me 2 seconds here with Dean Reddit and see what he got up to. He's coming through 5. Is this the curb in 5? Is it? It is! There we go. First passenger of the evening of turn 5. Absolutely there as well. There was somebody else involved with him. And I think that was either Pete Baxter as well. But Reddit has jumped back into the pits at the moment, and Baxter had a moment with him. So there you go. First casualties. Here is Dean Reddit. What corner? Turn 5. The one we said they've got to be careful of.
So 3 meatball flags lurking at the moment. I can tell you, I don't know if Pete told you this when he was commentating with you, one of the most unlucky sim racing drivers you've ever seen. That man has about an 18-month curse going on where he struggles to finish races. And again, same thing. Accidents just happen literally in his lap right in front of him. Pete Baxter, Alfonso Latella, Dean Reddit, 3 drivers all with meatball flags. And we've seen a tow, I think, out of Reddit.
Yes.
So I believe he will be stuck. Latella's going to grab himself a fast repair at this point in time, and he will manage to get back out there. He's going to top off on fuel and potentially take a set of tires as well. Baxter has also collected his fast repair. So 2 drivers already into the pit lane, and that gets them out of sequence, and that means that they are in trouble.
Yeah, it doubly does. Interesting question. SLN in YouTube chat. Why was tow accepted and no safety car? Well, that's not for us to make that decision. Unfortunately, we can sit here and commentate and say about it, but it isn't down to us. Alien Gretsch with Matt Carrick running side by side down into turn 1. Gretsch in the Porsche on the left there, Carrick on the right. Are they going to go up side by side? They're not. Gretsch backed out and allowed Carrick to take his line. I'm not sure if that was brave or crazy, because he's just put himself back into the clutches of Hayden Norris. Possibly should have gone there for Gretsch and used that, open up that steering of that Porsche and given Carrick something to think about going off around turn 1.
Yeah, so just hearing in, Dean Reddit did tow back to the pits. The other 2 drivers drove it back there under their own steam. But have a look at this squabbling in the mid-pack. The more I watch GT4 action, the more they can race closer and closer. If you notice, James, there's none of that. There's just the slightest hint of dirty air compared to the GT3 action, where there's just so much dirty air. It's so difficult to follow this close. GT4s, less downforce, less ability for dirty air to really affect these cars. But how good is the racing as a result?
Yeah, the racing's been amazing so far. We've seen a couple that made mistakes, right? And they've got to be a little bit more careful. As I said, as it goes on and it goes on, you know, we have, give or take, let's give them a bit of credit here. We are only 10 minutes in, and we haven't seen many. We've seen Mellis and Reddit make the main mistakes here. So, you know, they're keeping it fairly clean. They're doing a stellar job. They've broken the 10-minute mark. They've all survived, which is always good, because we do love a race where there's drivers in it. Not gonna lie, it gets pretty boring with a couple. But Ray Oliver at the moment is doing a great job trying to hold Chris Pellet back. But now, whether or not he can, Pellet is in the Mercedes. Lawrence and Magri are closing as well. And Dutch is still not letting Coleman go or get away from it. But there we go. Also as well, we have had our very own Jimmy Middleton. What have you been up to, dear sir, as you're coming on through turn 7? Dude loves showing a little bit of a Jimmy spin. There he goes. Look at that. Audition for Swan Lake there, Jimmy. And round goes that Aston Martin.
I mean, that could have been a lot worse. He's managed to pull that one up. Just slight contact with the barriers. He'll continue on. He'll continue on with things. The other thing Jimmy said as well is that he said about Ricky. He said, just FYI, Ricky's changed the Mercedes because he couldn't handle the raw power of the BMW. So he had to go for a little bit of Mercedes AMG muscle. Yeah. And yeah, that sounds like a Ricky thing.
Yeah, but it really then, what does it say about Jimmy's driving, considering he was the first one to spin out the both of them? You know what I mean? Ricky may have gone for the Mercedes, but Ricky's the first one to go around like a ballerina. So
I was calling some GT4 racing from Bathurst yesterday, and the BMW was actually quite difficult to. The suspension on it didn't handle the downhill sections and the braking transitions as you sort of came over the crests. Mm-hmm. The BMW was very, very light, very, very loose, whereas a lot of the other GT4 cars seem to handle the bumps and the crests a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with it. To be honest, though, Bathurst, there ain't many cars that can handle that downhill section. You know, I've done a league where they run the W12 through there, and I'm not going to lie, an F1 car running through there in 7th gear was literally insane, dropping down into that Forest Elbow and round there. But there's not many cars that will handle that downhill section of Bathurst. You know, once you get into that mountain, as you start coming out of turn 3, you're knackered. You just got to follow somebody all the way through. And if you take it too wide, well, we've seen that in the V8 supercars. You end up having a scrap on track and causing a car park. So let's hope it doesn't happen. But we're at Road Atlanta. They've got a little bit more wider to deal with. You know, the BMW's got a little bit more play. It should be all good. I think we're good so far. We're good. I've only got 3 incidents on my sheet of paper. And normally, if it's a bad race, there's about 10 by now.
Well, there's none of the. I think the big difference between here and Bathurst is none of those excessive bumps, and that's the real difference, isn't it? Yes, the weight will transition, but it's not excessive like it is at Bathurst. There's none of that excessive unloading and reloading, and they can settle. Interesting to note as well, compared to the GT3 cars, whereby the underfloor of the car gets quite affected.
Scott, he made a mistake. He's now going to be Norris. Oh, Norris has hit something there as well. He has literally tapped something from, whether or not that's from the front end of Gretsch's car there, but Norris has dented that Merc. He looks like he's hit a pole currently at the moment, and he's got a nice little U shape in the front of that car. I'm trying to see if we can get a nice, decent little shot on the way back here, but you can't at the moment.
I see it, yeah. I reckon that's a Porsche rear bumper.
Yeah, I think he's hit something there, because it's just got the little U-bend. He's almost like my wife. It's a pole in the car park and then blame somebody else. So there we go.
That's not where I thought that was going.
Hey, keep it clean, Scott. Keep it clean. We're PG.
That blew me away. That one came out of, and people say I'm out of left field when I say things on commentary, JP. But no, yeah, you got me there. You're 100% right. No, I reckon it looks Porsche shaped. I reckon he was trying to give him a bump draft down the straights, and that's what's caused that damage. He won't be aware of that, of course. He'll have no idea he's got that crinkle in front of his car.
We can see it quite well, so it's not going to cause him too much of a problem, I'm sure. But you know, it still makes that look ugly, and might have been made out of cardboard if it's dented that easily, I'm not going to lie. Stephen Lawrence here having a nice little battle with Magri. Magri's closed in on him. Magri's up 3 at the moment. The battle of the Mercs with Ray Oliver there just going through the bottom of your screen, as you can see, in the only BMW. Now, these all look nice and clean and tidy. However, if Lawrence keeps taking that line out of turn 5, he's going to be doing what we saw earlier on as well. So he needs to be a little bit more careful coming out of 5. Otherwise, he will be spinning round once more.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so unloaded through there. Up, down, up, down, up, down. It's a little bit like a street circuit. I reckon Stefan Lawrence is just a hardware failure.
Well,
we're back. We're all good.
No, we got an internet issue, but that's about it, I think. So we'll stay out of Stephen Lawrence for a minute, because I don't want it crashing anything, as I have seen it previously do that. So we'll drop down to Hayden Norris, Adrian Gretsch and Trent Allen, as these guys are running down into 10A at the moment.
Have a look at them as they come down. I love this section of this circuit. I've got a real place in my heart for Road Atlanta.
Hold it! Oh! Man, I bet Norris was gripping that wheel. Squeaky bum time for Hayden Norris there, coming out of 10B. I'm not going to lie, Scott. So, yeah. Anyway, you carry on, mate. Where were you going? What were we talking about?
More moves there than a grade 6 disco, I think, was what was going on.
Hey, I used to love my school discos. Couldn't dance for Jack.
I'm the same.
Mate, it was breakdancing while I was a kid. You know, we had the big breakdancing movement when I was a kid, and we used to be in youth club on a Thursday. And we used to be there. I used to take my pound down, and it used to get me 20p entry, get me a drink, get me a Coke, and I used to be able to get a pack of crisps for £1. Now, well, I can't even get in without spending 25 quid on entry. So, yeah.
I don't think they let gentlemen our age into discos for that age group anymore without a child that belongs to us.
I can get in a nightclub, you know what I mean? Get in.
I mean, that's a bit different, but they don't serve lollies at the nightclubs.
No,
that's the difference.
They don't, and they won't let me buy a drink at a chocolate bar for £1 either. But yeah, I was very much a breakdancing movement when I was a kid, and it used to be everybody round in the circle, and then you used to go in and bust your moves, and then point at somebody else to come in and bust their moves. Just goes to show how old
Dance
I am.
battles.
Yeah.
No, yeah, been in and around those. Just keeping half an eye on Chris Pellet as well. He's starting to really drift backwards. Remember, started up in P3. He's back to 5th at the moment and continuing to drift down a little bit. Unfortunately for him, Stefan Lawrence continuing on with that little bit of an internet issue. So he is still having half an issue just in behind him. We've just got to keep half an eye on that one.
Yeah.
In terms of things behind him, though, Jacob Hughes is on the improved. Carrick was actually up several spots just a few moments ago. He's drifted now. He's back to 9th, so he's starting to lose. My word, Stefan Lawrence has had a huge moment up and over the crest of the hill. He was sideways.
Well, he's still going. He's still going. Yeah, and we'll see if we can catch up with Stefan Lawrence and see what actually happened here. As you can see,
you'll have to continue on with this for a fair bit.
Oh,
yeah, so it's all the way around.
Again.
It's all the way around in the second sector, so you'll just have to stay with him as he comes through turn 1.
Well, we can't stay with him, unfortunately. His internet won't pick him up. So whatever he's done it there, and unfortunately his internet where it keeps cutting out is causing us an issue because I can't stay on him for long.
We had a great discussion actually the other day about racing platforms, and when I say racing platform, I don't mean as in which games you play or which simulators you're on. When I say racing platforms, I mean like the Porsche Cup car and the Porsche 992 just in general, and what a powerful platform of car that is, because they can literally take that car. All they've done for the GT3 variant is effectively detuned the engine slightly, taken a little bit of downforce of it and turned off the ABS and traction control, because the onboard computer within that car still has the ABS and traction control allowable. There's a series out of Thailand I commentate. There's some Porsche Cup cars that compete in there, and I think they actually have the ABS and traction controls switched back on within the electronics within the car, so they can compete in a different category. So there's only 3 Porsche Cup cars that compete in that category, and it was to sort of balance them out with the other cars that are racing around. So yeah, something to think about. And the Mercedes is much the same with the engine and the electronics on it. They sort of come up with one good platform that they can apply then to multiple different cars. Aston's not quite the same, but yeah, Porsche obviously they've got the Cayman. They've been looking after for such a long period of time in the GT4 category, and then you step up to the 991s, which then became the 991.2, 992. But those cars are just so, what's the word? They're so pliable. They're so moldable to whatever you want your category specifics to be. Even though the Porsche Cup cars are so popular the world over in their own right.
I think they're a Porsche. I find very much whenever I commentate on series or we drive, or not that I drive very often, to be honest, and when I do it's terrible anyway, but I find that we've got this saying here, and it's basically the Porsche does Porsche things. Now you could do the same thing, like Adrian Gretsch could do the same thing round turn 1 here, and he'll do it for 59 minutes. On the last lap he'll go to do the same thing again, and the Porsche's back end will go round. And then you're like, there you go, the Porsche is doing Porsche things. And that's the saying here at the moment, because it can do things. It'll either want you to race it, or it will want to kill you. That's the option.
Yeah, it's being compliant until a point, isn't it? When it's hit that point, it's the point of no return.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not quite sure where the compliance kicks in, to be honest. Because let's face it, from lap 1, it's always a difficult car anyway. But
I love Porsche Cup racing. Beautiful racing.
Get out.
Not a fan. There you go.
No, I'm not. I'm not a fan. But there we go. Gretsch is on the defence for Norris. Norris is all the way to the right-hand side, or his left of the circuit here. He's going to tuck in. It doesn't look like the Mercedes has got the grunt at the moment to try and clear the Porsche, which is a little bit of a worry, because normally I would have thought that Mercedes would have been tucked up and gone through. Now, I don't think the wife dent on the front of the car is going to affect him too much, but clearly he did not have it there as well. Pellet and Lawrence still fighting out. Oh, if you're going to tuck him up, you've got to open up that steering, sir, or close it in to try and give him room. Don't do this. Don't. Okay, don't. Good. I thought they were going to go too wide through 2 and 3 then, and then somebody was going to be off.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of somebody who's going off, it's actually Adrian Gretsch in the background. Has just gone off on the right-hand side as they come out of turn 3. So we're just talking about turn 3 and getting through there too wide and how you shouldn't do that. And this is going to be the perfect example of the compliant, and there she goes.
Yep.
Exit stage right.
Yeah, he's in the upside.
Oh, he's done well.
Yeah, the grass has helped him there as well. Don't get me wrong, they added depth, didn't they, to the grass and the gravel, so they've made it a little bit more usable rather than not usable. So they've done well with it there as well. And as we said, it does things. Oh, what has gone on down here? Mr. Stefan Mellis, what have you been up to? There's more than one person involved in this, I think, as well. And for Stefan Mellis, I think he's gone and done that. Where did Damian Taylor? There we go. Unfortunately for that one. We'll have to have another look at that because that looks very interesting for Stefan Mellis. He come up through turn 1 here, Scott, and then unfortunately lost the back end.
Bumps.
Yeah, but
you just
why do that?
saw the rear end come around. Well, I mean, if he's the problem is if it's ABS and the ABS is kicked in, the car will continue rolling backwards. There's nothing you can do about that.
Well, unfortunately.
And the McLaren within, because the McLaren's actually the GT4 that whoa, he's still parked on the line at turn 1. He's still parked there. That is hazardous.
He's got to wait, hasn't he? He's got to wait.
Yeah, he's got to wait for permission to tow.
Well,
because he's done. That car is going nowhere. I think he's broken a drive shaft. Look at the cars, just left and right at the moment. I think they're all trying to go which way. Have a look at that right rear tire. It's sitting off.
It's on the floor. It's on the floor. He's literally got nothing. But the problem is as well is he can't actually go anywhere until he gets permission to tow. And if he doesn't get that, he's sat there. It's either that or he's just parked there. But you've got to get him out of the way. We need to get him moved. Whether or not that's going to be a safety car, I don't know. But they need to move him here once more for Stefan Mellis. I don't know if Stefan's trying to make a decision on what to do or what the situation is, but he needs to remove that car sooner rather than later. Otherwise, he's going to cause a bigger problem here once more. Not an ideal way of dealing with that, I'm not going to lie.
No, I mean, I don't see what other options he was sort of left with. I mean, they only really had a lot of, effectively, local yellow was the only way to deal with that car because it's still on the racing line, and this is where I get the feeling you and I are going to debate a lot of things over the course of this broadcast, and sim versus real life is going to be one of them that we'll talk about the other side of this safety car. Entire field going to make their way into pit lane. Free pit stop in the offing. One car has gone through. It is Jacques Swanepoel who's going to continue on. He's going to have a gigantic hole in that fuel tank that he's going to need to put into the car. But in the meantime, what that has allowed for is that has allowed for him to grab some track position, which he has dutifully gone through and done.
Yeah, I want to have a look at this from Ronald Long. I think it was Long who got caught up with Mellis here. And you can see Mellis there, and unfortunately he just comes back at him, and then boom! Robert Long.
That's 100% the ABS. Yeah, I need to have a look at the rake lights on that one to tell you otherwise, but I think that's ABS has kicked in.
Not an ideal scenario, but whatever's happened, unfortunately for Ronald Long, it caused him a problem. Well, we saw what it caused Mellis, to be honest. That was just mass drama. So, yeah, not ideal, but there we go. That's racing.
I tell you what's actually triggered it is normally that curb's not too bad. It's quite compliant, but the problem that he's got is he actually caught the inside of the curb as the safety car's taking control here of the field. And you are 100% right, James. I will give you the update. He actually did release the brake pedal on that car.
Yep. Don't go back for no reason, Scotty. I'm afraid, dear sir. That should have been a hold. He was almost
100%.
He was. The problem is he was almost stopped, right? And that's the thing. If you have a look,
you've got to hold it until you get completely to stop.
Right.
You can't. Yeah.
Right about. So he goes here, stops, stop, brake.
He lets the brake go there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what caused the drama. But for him, it isn't the drama after, it's what he does here. He's just sat there. And we can have a look at some of the cars coming through really, really quickly. But he is just sat there. And for him, he sits there for quite a while. Now, we are on a safety car, guys. Please don't panic. I'm not just bringing you this for no reason. And he just sits and sits and sits because he's got to wait for permission to get out the way. The problem is...
The problem he's got, he tried to get out of the way. He did. Yeah, he can't. He's got no drive. There's no drive whatsoever.
No.
There's a broken drive shaft because he's revving the absolute tits off that thing. He's trying to get some drive, trying to get some traction to go somewhere, which is why he was trundling backwards.
But he's got nothing.
And then eventually... No, he's got nothing.
Absolutely diddly squat in that car. He's just got to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And of course, everybody else in the meantime is going rushing through. But there we go, up and running once more. Safety car is in the front of the field currently and doing a stellar job. So well done to the safety car driver.
Well, they're settling themselves down into the safety car speed at the moment, so everyone's just about... Oh, Andrew Proctor's just lost an engine or something. Under safety car.
I don't think he's the only one here. What has he done?
It was Ricky Provenzali actually coming in behind him.
Oh!
Whereas again, there was a huge checkup. Ricky couldn't have done anything.
No.
Nobody there could have done anything.
There was a massive checkup in front there. And unfortunately for Provenzali, I'm going to say he lost a bumper, Scott, but you and I both know it fell off and went back on. Is it on the front of that car? It is. So his bumper's back on.
Won't be producing quite as much downforce as it was before.
Well,
This is why it's so important for guys to be consistent. So you can see Andrew Proctor's now just hanging off the back end of that queue ahead of him just because he's got no confidence in the drivers that are around him.
well, if they're going to check up again,
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him either. If they're going to check up on him...
I've had to have this debate with I don't know how many leagues because particularly with NASCAR stuff, obviously good pacing is so important with the amount of cautions that those guys do. It's so critical that you only ever change your speed gradually in these sorts of situations. That's what's causing the issue. People are just ducking, diving, and weaving aggressively on the brakes, aggressively on the gas, aggressively on the brakes. You can't do that.
Yeah, and I think that's, we've all got, when we get hold of this steering wheel, right, we turn into Max Verstappen. And we put out, some people wear boots and others wear gloves. And I'm surprised there ain't some streamer somewhere wearing a crash helmet in the comfort of his own home. And, they kind of get that mentality on. We've seen it before where they're weaving left and right and they're doing this and they're doing that and they're checking and they're brake dragging. And look, I'm not being rude. Just drive the car because that checking up caused a problem for everybody behind him, Jacques now in the pits. Whether or not Jacques left that very late to go into the pits, I'm not going to lie. But Scotty, they've just got to be sensible. Don't go and check up, right near with a whole queue. Yeah, that's what I mean.
If you want to weave left and right, absolutely, go nuts. If you want to brake drag, absolutely, go nuts. But don't accelerate heavily and then brake heavily. That's what causes it. And the other thing is that in terms of things like. There was some studies done. I watched really, really interested in traffic dynamics. It's just one of those odd interest topics for me. With traffic dynamics, if you're ever stuck in a city, I don't know where you're located, but I've done some living in inner cities. Hated every minute of it. Get me back out to the country. But the way that traffic works within the inner city, if you keep rolling, or instead of when the car ahead of you accelerates away. If he gets up to 30 kilometers an hour really, really quickly and you sort of gradually build it up to 15, 20 and you stay rolling when he then next stops, you'll find within 3 or 4 cars, the traffic jam will self-clear itself.
Yeah. But I've had this debate before with people as well when, you've got the filter lane in on the outside and you're 2 lanes deep and then there's some geezer trying to get all the way to the front by using the filter lane. Now, me personally, I'm one of them drivers that don't let him in. I stay right close to the car in front and say, well, if you want to try and cut everybody up, get to the back of the line.
That's different. That's very different. Yeah, I'm talking about, 2 lanes worth of traffic going through where it's stopped. Look, roadworks, those sorts of things where there's slow moving traffic. Don't come to a stop. Don't accelerate quickly away from it. You'll clear the traffic jam 10 times quicker.
Well,
anyway,
common sense.
Ladies and gentlemen, the JP Broadcasting and Scotty Rankin radio show will continue on to the next safety car.
It's going to continue now. The safety car's in. So let's see what Dawson's going to be able to do here. He's got the Flying Dutchman, Andrew Dutch, sorry, from Australia. Honestly, he's not Dutch. Ray Oliver, Owen Coleman behind. I'm going to be interested to see what Coleman does on the jump here, whether or not he's going to get him, Scotty, but we're going up under the bridge.
I tell you what, Dawson was 5 seconds quicker through the pit lane than Andrew Dutch was, so I wonder whether or not he didn't take tyres. He's not taken tyres, he's taken that splash of fuel, and 5 seconds was the difference in fuel. Doesn't matter, because Alan Dawson's going to lead us back to green as we go down underneath the bridge on the front stretch at Road Atlanta. It is going to be just under half an hour to checkered flag as we roll off from this one. And I think that may be the only pit stop for a lot of these drivers that we'll be seeing tonight.
Yeah, I think it will be there as well. Coleman didn't do... I thought he would have been near enough alongside Ray Oliver there before they even got anywhere near that line, and he wasn't. Dawson didn't do what everybody else has been. Damian Taylor, you're on the outside there, sir. There's a chicane there and a slowdown coming your way. So enjoy that one. And unfortunately, Dawson is still out in front. Dawson didn't bolt under the bridge, Scotty. He didn't go when everyone backed up. He kept him in the line. Should have gone. As soon as you hit that bridge and everybody's backed up behind you, get that downhill run, get that foot to the floor and open up the gap. And that's what we've seen in the first time round as well on the first start once we got underway.
Yeah. Well, he's done something a little bit different, but at least he's got control of the field this time, though. Andrew Dutch is going to offer some stout resistance. It was Owen Coleman that showed all of the pace and all of the will to get to the lead and run away, but now he's got to do it all over again. This time, he's going to be backed up and in behind that big BMW wheeled by Ray Oliver. In the meantime, Andrew Dutch is going to go chasing on behind Alan Dawson, but unfortunately, internet dramas continue.
Yeah.
We've lost him. Have we lost him? No, he's back. He's back. We've got Andrew Dutch. I was worried. We're right on the threshold before he was about to get kicked from the server for internet dramas, but we've got him back.
Yeah, he's back in now, running once more. Taylor's been off. One of the other people that have also been off the side of the circuit is Daniel Magri. So Magri has been off there. There's been a lot of changes from the restart. Martin Hallinan, Ricky Provençali up 10 and 11 places. Here, Mark Foster, Matthew Norris up 11 and 13. And then unfortunately, we're going down into that losers category where they have lost places behind that. You can see that middle pack from 13 to, 7, 18 now have all gained positions. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Hayden Norris, though, in this Mercedes under pressure from Adrian Gregg. And once more, they're on that run down into turn 10A.
I tell you what, Peter Baxter at the back end of things has just made a huge dive. There's chaos! There's chaos as they come off of turn 7. Cars to the inside, cars to the outside. There's 2 cars that are around. It's Jacques Swanepoel, and it's going to be Alfonso Latella.
Yeah, they are. He's coming off the curb. There we go. Oh, they followed each other. That was nice. Latella went one way and Jacques went the other. So both coming out of turn 7. Too much gas, gentlemen. And we did say that about the Mercedes earlier on, Scotty. They've got to be gentle with it. But here at the moment, you've got Proctor and Long going side by side as they're on that run out of turn now, down under the bridge, turn round through turn 12. And Mellis is tucked up in there for good health once more. Dawson and Dutch still going at it at the front. Lawrence is dropping. No, he's not. He's back again. So there's a couple that have got a little bit of internet issues here this evening.
Yeah, welcome to Racing in Australia, my friend. Unfortunately, it just comes with the territory. In the meantime, do you want to know where that accident happened?
You better get a kangaroo to run faster.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is the kangaroos have got to go, several hundred kilometers to get anywhere near a server. You want to know where that incident happened? We were talking about Peter Baxter's curse, shall we say? Yeah. Well, that incident happened nearly in his lap yet again. So if you're in front of Peter Baxter, I'd get very, very scared because in the next few laps, you could be having an incident.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens here. But Pellet is going after Oliver. That Merc ain't got that grunt, because that's the second time somebody's pulled out in the Merc and they've gone out to try and go round and they've had to come back in. He's going to do it.
Pellet, he's gone. He's gone and he's gone and he's gone. And he chased him across the track, and in the end, there's going to be no move that comes out of it. Ray Oliver manages to hang on.
Yeah, he did there as well. Pellet thought about it. Didn't quite move it, and unfortunately, well, you know, we saw there as well, Pellet just got sat there once more. Mark Foster down in the murk. He's having a nice little battle with Ricky here. I think Ricky's just peeling off to go into the pits. He is, so that's released Foster, that's released Edwards, that's released Norris. So they're all going to go past Ricky once more. Baxter also here in the Mercedes with Jimmy. Yeah, he's a bit of a late one. Not sure why he didn't do it under the safety car. That would have given him his halfway point. Not sure. I'm sure Ricky might be able to explain it. Dutch and Dawson there as well. Dawson, that's why they've swapped positions, and Dawson is off, unfortunately, as he's coming through. The S is down into 5.
I just saw Chris Pellet in the same section of the track was all out of shape. So it's different. He's offline there, understeered down the hill, and then into the barriers and out the other side. So a couple drivers starting to have their own dramas, and the race was starting to go all the way of Alan Dawson. He had an opportunity tonight, but the thing is, they talk about it as a race car driver. Execution, execution, execution. It's no good having pace if you can't execute when you're presented with the opportunities.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? About being a race car driver, you've got to be consistent. Whether it's sim, whether it's home, whether it's real life, whatever it is, you've got to be consistent. And unfortunately, some people haven't. And Dawson is one of them, because he's now lost a place to Carrick. Carrick, however, has got the entrance into 10A all wrong, and it's going to jeopardise his entrance coming out now. Down through the hill they go, Scotty. We've got Carrick, we've got Dawson, we've got Magri. What's going to happen here? It's the Riot Squad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them together. Can you imagine the crash if they all crashed into each other? That team briefing after.
Mate, these are my teammates, mate. Could you imagine the crash? They'd laugh about it. That's the thing about Riot Sim Racing. They'd be all like, man, you had a crack down there. In the meantime, Carrick runs wide at the crest of the hill. That's going to give the opportunity back to Magri. So after all is said and done, Dan Magri comes down the hill and Carrick is still going backwards.
Yeah, he's lost another place as well. Get the entrance on 5.
Is that 5 in a row? That's 5 Riot Sim Racing cars in a row.
Yeah, it is. You are literally with Magri, Hughes, Carrick, Dawson and Norris. And then you've got Adrian Grech in the Alpine. So, you know, I was talking about this with a friend. They've got 7 cars in an upcoming series that we're broadcasting. And he was saying, can you imagine if 7 of us all crashed into each other? I said, well, can you imagine the commentary you're going to get if you do that? And he was like, yeah, all right, James. I was like, yes, exactly. Don't do that.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, I mean, from my perspective, again, teammates, but the camaraderie is such that these guys would just chuckle about it the whole way through. Somebody would be head in the hands, and everyone else would be giving them no few words of encouragement of go on, have another crack, do it again, you silly bugger.
Yeah,
would be effectively the team chatter in there.
Yeah, I'm sure they will play nice, but, you know...
They play nice with each other. They don't play nice with each other. You don't know the same Riot Sim Racing I do.
That's what I mean. They're racing drivers at the end of the day. Are they really going to play nice? You know, I've been in an official, mate. Trust me. They don't play nice there. Jimmy's under attack from Proctor here. I'm a little bit worried for Jimmy at the moment, whether or not he's going to be able to hold this on. He is up 1 from where he started, so go Jimmy. But unfortunately, it looks like he's got a Proctor BMW looming on him. So if Jimmy can recover earlier on and put away that 2-2 from the ballerina exercise we saw once earlier on with him spinning, I'm sure he'll be all right. But yeah, he's going to have to try and get away from Proctor. He's got 2.5 seconds up the road from Matthew Norris. So he's got a bit of a buffer as old Jimmy, but he's just got to go on the defence. Dawson Carrick still going at it in this mid-pack.
Tell you what, how good is the drive from Peter Baxter though and Matthew Norris? Matthew Norris is plus 12 at the moment, and Pete Baxter just ahead of him is plus 4. But then again, you know, Baxter didn't set a qualifying time, and the amount of chaos that's unfolded in his lap, he would be quite happy to enjoy the rest of the race, nice and cool, nice and calm, and not for this to kick on. In the meantime, the Riot Sim Racing, well, they're having a riot. Unfortunately for the rest of us, I don't know how much riotous action has actually gone on out on track between these guys. I don't think it's been too much. In the meantime, Owen Coleman does have the lead, but Andrew Dutch has been able to go with him much closer this time, as opposed to the first start of the race.
So we got a riot out in front as well, and then Andrew Dutch tucked up behind him. Ray Oliver not too far back either on that one. But this is where it's all kicking off. This 6th place here with Trent Allen. It's got all the riots are coming. You know, Jordan Malcolm in YouTube chat, a full riot coming. Absolutely. And at the moment for Trent Allen, he's got to be looking back thinking, yeah. It's run.
It's a bit like any of those ancient war movies, isn't it? He just sees it in the rearview mirror. Maybe a horror score. The Jaws theme tune.
That's
underlying on this one.
Yeah, the Jaws theme tune going on at the moment as well. Can you imagine it? It's like duh, 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 duh. By the time he gets down to 10A, it's like da, 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 da. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But there is Stephen Lawrence from Riot in front. Now I'm surprised Stephen, yeah, he's racing his own race, but to be honest with you, he probably could back Trent Allen up here and allow his 5 teammates to try and get through. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like Stephen Lawrence is doing that at the moment. He's just basically ran and said, see you later. So there we go.
Good luck, boys. Keep up if you can.
Yeah, pretty much. Lawrence has just said, well, I'm not dealing with that. See you later, boys. Crack on. But yeah, unfortunately.
Do you know the initiation ritual within Riot Sim Racing? Give you a little bit of insight to the team.
Is it PG
effectively,
though, Scott?
Oh, it is PG because it's all racing related. Effectively, you get invited to the team after somebody on the team has turned you in a race. Effectively.
Right. So they've got to spin you in an official or anything?
No, in a league race. Doesn't matter. Any racing. So I got my invite after getting turned by one of the Riot Sim Racing cars in a NASCAR race because they turned me around. In the meantime, down the inside from Stephen Lawrence, he's going to have a crack. He has got the nose ahead, and Trent Allen's going to duke him to the corner. Goes the long way round, but Stephen Lawrence gets the AMG GT4 strapped to the ground. He's got better traction. He's got better drive. The move is done, but will it still be done when they get down here to 10A and 10B?
Well, unfortunately, it was Daniel Magri who got past on Trent Allen there. Stephen Lawrence is already up the road here, Scotty, unfortunately. There's Stephen.
My apologies.
That's all right. Don't worry. It happens. We all get excited. We all mumble jumble sometimes. Don't you worry about it, dear sir. But here's Magri through. Now, Magri now can do a wonderful team game if Magri wants to. He can start putting the brakes on a little bit. Backing Trent up bit by bit by bit. He's got a teammate out in front of him. He doesn't need to worry what's coming behind. He doesn't need to worry about what's catching him in front. If he wants to play this team game for Magri, start just braking a little bit earlier, backing him up into the Porsche if you use. It's going to be tough.
I tell you what, Trent Allen just ran straight across the curb there, and I'm starting to wonder whether or not he actually picked up a slowdown. He got away with that one, just. That was right on the limit. I think if he was half a foot to the right-hand side at turn 3 at the crest of the hill, that was a slowdown penalty coming his way, but he definitely turned in early at 3.
Yeah, he definitely did there. Jordan Malcolm's giving you grief in YouTube chat. He says, come on, Scotty, you can't even get your teammates right. So, unfortunately for you, they've all got it. How many Aussies are in chat right now? Well, there's only one in the booth with me. There's obviously me, Peggy.
Jordan Malcolm's Australian.
Yeah, Jordan Malcolm's Australian. Biggles is Australian. However, he's a part-time Australian. He's living in Panama at the moment. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure he can count as an Australian, can he?
I mean, his origins out here. We accept any and all comers, mate.
Yeah, so did the British, mate, when we sent you over there. Anyway,
I was about to say, we even accept British criminals. We're more than welcome to accept any and all comers.
Yeah, however, though, to be fair, oh, go on, son.
That's a move.
Go on, have him. He did have him there as well. Hughes got at the inside of Trent Allen. Now you can play the team game. Back him up into Carrick. Can Carrick get him as well? And poor old Trent Allen is just seeing all of these cars go past. He's not even sure if it's the same one, if he's lost a position, if he's gone off track, what the situation is. And poor old Trent Allen's going to think he's hallucinating in there at the moment with the amount of riot cars around him. But now, Hughesy, can he back him into Carrick? Can Carrick get past him as well?
I think Hughesy's got his own problems as he runs very wide out to the right-hand side of the road at turn 5. They crest the hill, they crest the bumps. Now he's got to get this Porsche pulled up as they get down to turn number 6. And Trent Allen looks to be a little bit out of sequence. I'm going to go ahead and say jump out on the limb. I reckon Trent Allen did not take tyres, and those are second-hand pieces of rubber underneath the Aston Martin Vantage at this point in time. He's managing to hang on to things as it stands, but for how long?
Yeah, Dawson's trying to have a go at Norris here, and now I think this is where it's going to be sensible boys within the Riot squad, or, as you may know them better than me, they should be sensible, because all they're doing, they're just battling each other away at the moment, unfortunately losing time here, and Carrick has just lost another bunch of, he's lost a position to Norris. I'm wondering if he copped a little bit of a slowdown coming out of 10 there, or is he just moving out the way? But yeah, tough one for these guys at the moment.
Yeah, settling in, and Carrick now looks to be the car that's really struggling from among these guys, and they want to be going forward. They want to be applying pressure to the guys that are off and in front of them. Carrick lost a second on that last lap compared to most of the drivers. So that's where we've been focusing our attention for the last little while. This is back towards the tail end of things. I think, is that Ronald Long I'm looking at on the screen at the moment? I believe it is, yeah. And Jacques Swanepoel and Jimmy Middleton in behind.
Yeah, Middleton's been closing these guys down ever so slightly. And last time around, he took a massive chunk here. So he's closing in his old Jimmy. He's in the back there in the orange Aston at the moment. So he is closing back. Dawson's just cleared Craig. And there's a reason why he's just done that.
Carrick?
Yeah, Carrick has just gone off. So, unfortunately for Carrick, it looks like he's copped the turn 7 turn. He has on the curb. Round he goes. Did you keep it out the wall? You did. Good job, but he did lose a position in the meantime.
One of my favourite statements about car racing about to come out. Yeah, can I get a change of underwear at the pit stop, please?
Yes.
If that's available for Matthew Carrick.
Absolutely.
Change.
So, Nathan Allen said, can you guys take Scott back? Australia doesn't want him anymore.
Yeah, all of my Australian friends have just joined in, so that's great.
Yeah, well, welcome in.
We got some of that British humour going on about us out here, a lot of that mateship, and the mates that you like the most in Australia are generally the ones you give the most torment to, because generally they'll be able to take it.
Yep, exactly. Don't upset a new one because he don't know how to take you, and then he'll get a bit of a cry on. So you don't want to do that. But you know, you can give him some grief when they are mates, and at the end of the day, that's what they are for. Obviously, for Seb Pegg and Jordan Malcolm, I know him from a NASCAR league, so you know they do a stellar job out there as well. Jordan's defending champion, but not in the playoffs, as he said. He apparently can't make all the races.
Yeah, that's the problem for us Aussies when racing NASCAR stuff. Is times and thresholds, and Geordie's at university as well, so that's another issue that he's got with the changing schedules. Go-karter, if you'll believe it. I don't.
No. More like rollerblading. You can imagine, imagine Jordan Mountain, can't you, in his hot pants and his leg warmers, scooting down the beach of Australia at Bonsai Beach in his full bright pink
Mate, he
outfit.
lives in Victoria.
Oh, well,
he's
I
down
don't
in
know.
around Melbourne. There's no beaches that way. I can tell you very much. Any beaches, that's down near Phillip Island.
Well,
with a circuit with a corner named Siberia, and named Siberia for a reason.
Well, yeah, this is also true, but I can just imagine Jordan Malcolm, hot pants, pink leggings, purple headband, and a luminous green top on his rollerblades.
I'll get the graphics team on that one, and I'll show it to Geordie when I can.
Yeah, exactly. Get a full, get Geordie in his full outfit. He'll be fine. He'll love it. So we got broken the 10-minute mark here after you're listening to me and Scotty just ramble on randomly currently at the moment. Daniel Magri still in 6th place. Coleman out in front by 1.7. Dutch with 3.7 gap to Ray Oliver. Oliver's done a great job up 2 in that BMW. They're absolutely stellar. Then we've got the Mercedes, the Porsche BMWs of the Riot Squad battling in the middle. Adrian Gretsch is the Alpine Pro there. He's closely followed with Martin Hanlon and Matt Carrick. So there you go.
I just think it's all just stabilised out at this point in time. I think about the best gap that best battle pack we're probably looking at, Cam Edwards, Leith McClymont, and Pete Baxter is probably about the only one that's really going on, and the one that's on screen at the moment, because it's starting to really get spread out as GT races tend to do. So 3-way battle this one, on board with Leith McClymont as he gets right in and underneath the rear wing. BMW on BMW action. As Cam Edwards and Leith McClymont will go toe-to-toe. Leith McClymont's actually improved out of sight lately. He's really found something.
He missed the start as well, didn't he? He was at one point lap down and coming out the pit lane. So he's back where he qualified in 15th. So he hasn't lost, he hasn't gained anything. If he gets past Edwards here, he's going to obviously take a position away. But at the moment, he hasn't done any. He's not. I'm not going to say he hasn't done anything because that's not true, because he has. But he hasn't lost or gained anything coming from where he is.
Yeah, he put the sandbags on and then went for it, didn't he?
Yeah. Basically, he's just kind of got his foot down and gone for it. So let's see what happens here and see if Leaf can clear him. The riot squad still going at Trent Allen, unfortunately. Trent is not having any luck. Ricky Provenzali and Jimmy Middleton. Well, there we go. League owners going at it. Who's going to win this one?
Could you just imagine the talk between these two on Discord at the moment? They'll be having a great old stoush. They'll probably be saying, wonder what's going on up front, and really enjoy watching the broadcast back. And they'll look back at it and go, oh, get us off screen, please.
Yeah.
The instant that you tend to look at Jimmy, unfortunately, he tends to find a way to find a barrier in a new and unusual way. But this time it's going to be Provenzali that gets the legs down in that Mercedes. The fake to the right, back to the left for Ricky Provenzali. But it's going to be underneath that rear wing. Here comes Middleton. He's got the horses down. It's going to be a three-way stoush as they head their way down the hill. We'll see if they can get it pulled up when they get down here. It's going to be Ronald Long. It's going to be contact between Jimmy Middleton. He's pulled it up. He's rescued that one back. We'll lose the spot to Ricky Provenzali, and all will escape out the other side.
Yeah, Ricky did clear Jimmy there as well. Contact with Long there as well, Ronald Long. And unfortunately for Jimmy, he did get shoved out. The gap did close on him. Long opened him up. He squeezed Mr. Middleton once more. And unfortunately for Jimmy, they didn't come out well. Ricky, don't do this. Whatever you're going to do in turn 2, you might not want to do it. Get him on the X. He's made a mistake. Oh, Rick, jump on him as he comes down through out of 3 and through 4 now. So it's all getting very spicy here in the Aussie GT4's Premier League.
Oh no, Fozzie! We were just talking about it. Fozzie and Jimmy Middleton have come together.
Oh, there we go.
And Jimmy's just jumped on the radio and said, sorry, mate. I'm just trying to dodge everyone else. What's going on? And these two.
Oh, there he goes. Ballerinos round. Unfortunately, again, Jimmy doing another set of pirouettes there. And unfortunately for him and Foster, that's what unfortunately come out of it. Proctor and Norris still going at it here as well with 6 minutes remaining.
I was just going to say, at this rate, I think Jimmy Middleton has got a promising career in ballet.
Yes. Imagine Jimmy in a tutu and a pink leotard.
Oh, please stop. I don't want to.
You know you do. The photo's already in your head.
Yeah, but you mentioned it, 5 minutes that are going to be on the clock. We're running out of time now with lap times in a minute 24. Probably got 3 to 4 laps remaining. Probably only going to be 3 when they come by the next time. Coleman is going to continue to lead, but his progress forward. Andrew Dutch has found something in this second half of the race. Absolutely found something. And it was another interesting point, actually. It was really good to see Ray Oliver and Chris Pellet out on track, ex-teammates. Ray Oliver's only just recently moved away from Frog Leap Juice Racing and now runs out of the SLM Motorsports group. First debut outing in the GT4s here in the series. Works out of the mines, unfortunately. So 2 weeks on, 1 week off. In terms of work schedule for Ray, but he races when he can. So I was watching him actually race some Lotus 49s last night, and he was having a blast with that.
Down the mines.
He works in the mines, yeah.
What sort
fly
of
in, fly out work.
What sort of mines are we talking about?
There's a ton in Australia. I'm not 100% sure what mine he's working out of, but it could be anything. A lot of different metal ores and coal. Coal's a big exporter out of Australia to China. We supply a lot of coal and steel to China.
Oh, okay.
So it could be anything.
Oh, right. Fair play. I didn't realise mines were still existing.
Yep, lots of them. Lots of them everywhere right around, particularly the western half of Australia.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out. 4 minutes to go. We're going to get about another 2.5, maybe 3 laps, depending on what Coleman wants to do here. He can either run it full pelt and hope for the best. Provenzali's just having a go at Long, coming out of turn 12. On the circuit down into turn 1. Great job from him. Jimmy still 17 seconds back, unfortunately. So Provenzali moves himself up another position. He is +5. Cameron Edwards and Leaf McClymont going at it. McClymont's going to have the inside for 6th there. Job done for him.
Now Cam was scrambling all over the road. Pete Baxter, out of nowhere, from downtown, parks chucks it on the apex, comes away with it out the other side. Now we'll see who's got more grunt. Is it going to be the BMW M4 GT4? Is it the AMG GT4? It's going to be 4 leaders. They're going to get into each other. Elbows out. Argy-bargy as they run down the back straight. Baxter's lost the spot for now, but he did get late on the brakes when they got down to 7. Is it going to be the same down here at 10A? He'll line him up. He gets to the inside. He's there. He's alongside. They go through 10A. They go through 10B. And Baxter's on the outside. Tries to get the power down as they crest the hill. Who's going to have it when they get down to 12? They're still side by side. Right the way through. You know that both of these guys have recognized time is running out, and it looks like it out on track 2.
Through turn 1, side by side as well. They coming together on the straight. You know, boys, you're on a straight. Put it in a straight line. They're still going at it here. Baxter is still tucked up behind Edwards. Edwards in that BMW. They've been leaning on each other all the way through. They've swapped paints. They've swapped positions. It's been Baxter, then it's been Edwards, then it's been Baxter, then it's been Edwards, and now we're here with Edwards left out in front. Turn 5 now as well. So great job from all of them. I'm keeping an eye on the leader, keeping an eye as well. He's going
still
for it. Yeah, he's still showing there as well. He's trying to have a go at him, but it's going to be 10A and 10B once more. Where is Coleman in conjunction with the final lap time? I think we're going to have one and one more here.
We will have one more for sure. There's definitely going to be 2 laps, I think, remaining from this point in time, because we've got about 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. 2 minutes 5 seconds. Yes, there'll be 2 more laps this time by. Won't get the white flag this time. Won't get the white flag. Will be the white flag next time by. But I can tell you what, the best drive I've ever seen. I've only ever seen Peter Baxter angry in the car once, and that was the best drive I'd ever seen out of him. When he got the elbows out, when he got the argy-bargy, and the way that he's going on with Cam Edwards, and that battle, by the way, still going on. They dumped 3 seconds. They've lost 4 seconds to Leith McClimate since McClimate got through on that most recent lap as well.
They're still battling away, aren't they? Baxter and Edwards are still not giving each other room. You know, Baxter's still putting the pressure on here as well. Out of 1 they go up, pointing at the tree on the left. There you go. Good job, Pete. Round through 3, you can see Edwards didn't do that. He had to be late on the brakes to try and get that car to stop. Dropping down the hill into 4 now. Once more, we've still got Baxter tucked up behind him. He's still having to go over Edwards. Can he make it through? That's going to be the question. He's trying. He's just got nothing in the Merc.
No, nothing right now. And for your liking, Cameron Edwards races a little bit of Formula V in real life as well, so he's got the real world experience. Pete has done, we've seen him here in the commentary booth, sends it to the inside at 7. Edwards tries to pinch him off. You better believe that these guys know that there is going to be 1 more lap to go. Out of the last corner, by the way, is going to be Owen Coleman. He's going to grab the white flag, which means we'll be going green to the end. We won't take our eyes off any of the battles up and down the field because it's such compelling viewing, and another car in the fence to finish things off. Is that Trent Allen? You bet it is.
Yeah, Trent Allen. They've had a coming together. Trent Allen and Stephen Lawrence. Not sure what happened here. Lawrence is there as well. He's... Whoa! Okay, son.
Has he missed his braking marker?
I don't know, but whatever going left there at that point right in front of Trent Allen, not the best thing there, and I don't think Trent's going to be overly impressed with that. I'm not going to lie. That was somewhat of a bizarre move. If you got your slow down, great. Stay to the racing line on the right-hand side. Don't go and do something like that.
Oh, my word. There's multiple cars in the pit lane. Martin Hallinen's one of them. Stefan Lawrence was the car that got contacted at his rear bumper is another one. So in the meantime, our leader's going to make his way out of turn 7. Trent Allen is still parked there, by the way. He's stuck. He requested a tow. There's nothing he can do. We're on the white flag lap. There's no way a safety car can get out of here. So there is going to be a car in a stricken spot at the last few moments of this race. It's going to be Coleman as he makes the run down to 10A and 10B. This is the last lap of the race. It's going to be Owen Coleman to the flag, and we'll see what he can come away with.
Yeah, he's got to try and stay out of the way of that car. He can't move. And now Coleman is coming up under the bridge here, Scotty, for the final time. Down we go now. Coleman's going to come over the line for the Riot squad in the Mercedes. It's going to be Owen Coleman. He's going to take it here as well. Andrew Dutch comes through. Ray Oliver finishes in 3rd in the BMs. He splits up the Merc of Chris Pellet and Daniel Magri. But what is going on down here with Carrick and Gretsch as they're coming on the run down to the line?
Yeah, it's all tight in a couple of spots up and down the field. Kept my eyes on the battle between Baxter and Edwards. It's going to be Edwards that'll get that one over. But in the meantime, we've got our eyes on these guys right here as well. Racers over, they'll cross the line. There's not much in it. Proctor will get there over Swanepoel in the background. And that was how it finished between Baxter and Cam Edwards at the line. I tell you what, it's still not done because they're still kicking on in behind these guys.
Yeah, there's a car here. There is a car somewhere there. Stephen Lawrence there as well. Unfortunately, not enough electric in the old meter to power his internet. He's got again. Ricky's gone all the way to the left here. Where are you, Mr. Lawrence? I don't know if you just quit. There he is on the grass. So, yeah, interesting one. And then we got the likes of Jimmy Middleton just finishing off as well. You can see him come down the hill here.
Well, it's all petered out in the end. And we'll get down the other side. At the end of things, it's going to be Owen Coleman that picks up another race win. He picked up a race win all the way back at... he picked up the race win all the way back at the first round at Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. And I believe he was quickest as well at Monza. So 2 from 2 for Owen Coleman becomes 3 from 3. Convincing drive from him yet again.
Yeah, absolutely stellar job there from Coleman. He just did it, and he did an amazing job in it as well. So, great run from everybody. Most of the people survived, which is I always find great when they survive, and they did a good job in the process. So, yeah, great job from everyone.
Everyone's running out of fuel trying to make it back to the pit lane under power. In the meantime, I think Owen Coleman is going to be down and celebrating at the troublesome turn 5. That was him actually backwards between... he's facing that to... In front of the car is actually the circuit where he should be going. Behind him, this is the cutout. I think this is the national course that they run here, the shortened layout. But anyway, he's parked up there. It's a great opportunity for a photo. That's the results as they cross the line. And for Owen Coleman, it'll be win number 3, I believe. Ray Oliver sneaks in as well for his debut podium, but it'll be Andrew Dutch that splits those guys down the middle. Chris Pellet gets home and across the line in P number 4, less than 10 seconds back off the lead. Have a look at this next pack of guys that slowed each other up as they fought and squabbled over everything that was going on out on track. Daniel Magri will get home in the second of the right sim racing cars. From there, it's Jacob Hughes, Alan Dawson. Hayden Norris and Adrian Gretsch breaks up the right sim racing hold in the top 10. Matt Carrig will be the last of those cars to get home inside the top 10. Leith McClimate did a great drive all the way up to 11th from pit lane. That was a phenomenal drive, stonking drive, shall we say, from him. Cam Edwards and Peter Baxter dueled it all the way to the line. Andrew Proctor, after damage at the safety car, recovers to 14th. Shock Swanepoel gets in there just behind him for SLM Motorsport. Mountain Hallen and Ricky Provenzali. And Jimmy Middleton will be wrapped with a top 20 performance in 18th.
Yeah, and then beyond that, you got Ronald Long, Stephen Lawrence, and Matthew Norris. We saw Long and Lawrence have that battle at the end. Foster was there as well. Stefan Mellis and Trent Allen all down in 23rd and 24th for Alfonso Latella, 8 laps down, of course, and Damien Tyler. After that one with Dean Reddit, unfortunately, there as well. So nice little interesting fights going on. Nice little battles, nice little wins. Owen Coleman coming away with a victory. Did a great job here, Scotty. And I believe we got some people wanting a chat, dear sir.
Yeah. Generally, we speak to the driver at the front of the town. Some of those drivers deeper in the pack are actually the ones I tend to like talking to. But for now, we'll open it up with race 3 winner and Owen Coleman. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that 3 on the trot for you in the GT4 series?
No,
it was the fuel saving strategy won it at Monza. That's right.
Yeah,
My apologies.
I come 3rd in that one, I think. Yeah. Was it 3rd? I think it was 3rd.
Either way, 3 podiums and 2 wins thus far on the season, mate. It's you like the Mercedes in both the GT3 roster and the GT4 roster, and apparently it's liking you back.
Yeah, having a decent run so far. Sort of tried to just stick with the one set of cars that way. I sort of didn't have to try to relearn another car, I should say. Sorry. So yeah, it's been good. I enjoy driving them. So.
Mate, in terms of things tonight, Road Atlanta tends to be a trickier layout for most people. We saw a lot of Mercedes wiggling as they come off of the turn number 3 and started heading down the hill through 4 and the S's that don't have corner numbers, but that's a debate for another day. Anyway, handling on the Mercedes here tonight compared to the other cars? You look quite comfortable.
Yeah, like I said to a few of the guys, the Merc, you sort of just got to float it through the corners. You can't really point it as much as you can with the GT3. And that's why I ended up taking tyres at the stop, because I was just thinking coming through like the second, third and fourth corners, you'd really want to have the grip. So, yeah, I think it was Allen got a bit wide coming down the hill. So I think I made a good choice.
Mate, in terms of things now, as we look deeper within the season, pretty firm grasp at the top of the championship. Things are looking good, though, in both the GT3 and the GT4 championships. You just seem to be going from strength to strength at the moment.
Yeah, besides the first race in the GT3. I've just sort of just been trying to focus more on my racing and just generally enjoy it more. Sort of try not to take it like extremely seriously, as you would say. Yeah, just to be more comfortable, just enjoying it, and yeah, just having a bit more fun.
And finally, mate, the floor is yours to thank all the sponsors that make it possible for Riot Sim Racing.
Obviously, we've got Bliss Homes, the Mark Hughes Foundation, Gamer Gear Direct, Cardiff X, everyone at Premier, like Jimmy, Rick, everyone behind the scenes. Obviously, you guys for all the work that you guys are doing. It's very appreciated.
Mate, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure to see you again, Owen, and congratulations on winning round number 3.
Thanks, mate. We'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, see you then, brother. JP, you don't happen to have Andrew Dutch on standby, do you?
How are we, boys? Buggered after that. Oh yeah, no, that was hard work, that race. No, it was good. It was good. I knew Coleman was quicker than me, so I wasn't going to fight him for position. I was quite happy to let him go past and just sit in his toe, but even that's a hard thing to do when he's pulling away. So second is good, mate. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, how tricky was it after the pit stop? Did you take tyres on the pit stop?
Yeah, so I took 3. So I'd done it. I'd done a little practice in the practice. How tyres would go with a full tank refueling, and I think it was about 4 to 5 seconds extra for 4 tyres. So I took 3, and just hoped to God that was going to get me through.
And did you how was it towards the end? Was you sliding around, or did you manage to keep it and it was fairly planted?
No, it was. Look, it was good, but I knew it was going because, I had my foot to the floor, so I was definitely burning my tyres up in that second stint more than the first. But ended up getting there, which is good.
Oh man, awesome stuff. Well, anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, just to Ricky and Jimmy, obviously, for putting the league together, you boys for the broadcast, and all the sponsors that I've got on my car. It gives me something to work with the car.
Awesome stuff, mate. Well, have a good one there, bud, and we'll look forward to seeing you as the season goes on.
Appreciate it, boys. Thanks.
Take care, man. Well, there you go, Scotty.
And
Ray
finally,
Oliver.
That's it, mate. And chatting to Ray Oliver, we just said we were only just chatting to you last night. I was watching you turn around in Lotus 49s, and that sort of perked up JP's interest in the meantime, mate. From Lotus 49s to GT4 racing, doesn't get all that much different in terms of the worlds that you can go through, but that is the Ray Oliver style. You get anything, and you feel comfortable just about every time.
Sort of makes me feel like I'm bipolar.
Mate, tricky race out there tonight. It was actually really good to see you and Chris Pellet out on track side by side and duking away. It's been a couple months since the team switched now. Was it good actually to see Chris and to at least have some on-track action with him?
Yeah, it was good to have some of the boys in there that I used to spend time with and actually get to race with them, because I didn't always get to race with them on the team because of issues either way of us being busy or them being busy. So it was actually good to actually see that and good to race wheel to wheel again. But I definitely brought a knife to a gunfight tonight. Far out.
Mates, the best of the non-Mercedes drivers and few and far between in terms of things. How is the adjustment to the GT4 platform, and are you finding the racing up to your liking?
Being in a series where you can actually do a setup with the BMW gives you an actual chance. But when I went through all the testing data and that, there's still a half a second a lap advantage to the Merc around here. So it was touch and go where I was going to end up. And to be honest, being in third is basically a victory, to be truthful, because I ran across the line with 0.04 litres of fuel on board. So she was cutting it fine. But yeah, I don't even know how that result came out of tonight.
Mate, some say cutting it fine. Others say, nah, intended. I meant to burn every drop, and I absolutely did burn every drop. From the racing up and down the field, like I said, obviously GT4 racing, the BMW has problems with the weight transition sometimes over the bumps. How was turn 5 in particular?
It wasn't too bad because of the way I set it up. I set it up to also look after the tyres because I didn't take any tyres. The rest of the boys were taking tyres. So the plan was to run long through the first one, which having the safety car stuffed it up. But it was to run long, not use tyres, and then just go again because I knew once they got the cold tyres on, they were going to burn time. And I was just going to get straight back into it. And you could see with the restart, till I started to do the fuel save, I was catching them. But I just couldn't keep that and had to start thinking about the fuel. And once I knew Chris had burnt his tyres and was disappearing down the back, it was just get that 3 seconds and then just sit on it.
Mate, in terms of things, it's been awesome to see you back in race cars over the last week. It's been awesome to see you in as a part of this new partnership with SLM. So the floor is all yours to thank the sponsors that make it possible for you guys.
I want to thank our new sponsor that came on board, which is Sudspeed. It's great to have Richard and the boys on board. And just a big shout out to Matty Keane and his family with all the stuff that they've had to go through the last few months, and everybody on the team. Everybody's coming forward, everybody's looking through and learning and trying to bring it on, which is what we want to do. And it's great to be in that crew where you're fully supported and looked after, and the crap flows and we have good laughs and vice versa, but it's a good environment. So it's great to at least get something out of it and roll on tonight. Another 2 races till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mate, good luck with those and enjoy staying up late. And JP's got one more question for you. What are you mining? Where are you working at? Because I was discussing that with him and the perks of the job. What is actually in the mine that you're working out of?
So for those that don't know, I've gone FIFO, so I'm up at Telfo doing gold mining. So we're just doing that and what else is in there. So it's been a big change, and that's why I haven't been around as much. But the end result's going to be the payoff, and it's probably a bit better doing that because I get to relax and I'm not doing this day in, day out and getting frustrated.
Mate, well, congratulations, and shall we say you found a bit of a gold mine in results here tonight?
That's a cheap one.
Yes.
Come on, you brought that out from the ankles, bless you.
Mate, I think he's soon going to be a father the way he's saying jokes like that.
Oh,
I've got enough cats. There'll be no children on the way. I'm sticking with cats. I have enough with cats. There'll be none of those.
They're
no,
cheaper, let's put it that way.
Thanks very much, Ray. Pleasure chatting as usual.
Cheers, guys, and it's good to be back.
It's well, JP, that wraps us up in another land of sports car racing. The endurance outlook has been good, and I think the critical thing is we've gotten through the GT4 action here now tonight. Well, GT3 action's only just around the corner. I love this place with the GT3 car. A little bit more pace, a little bit more grip, and a little bit more risk, I think, is the big thing. At turn 1, at turn 5, bouncing over the curves. GT3s make this place sing.
Yeah, it definitely does as well. But don't forget, obviously, later on, we've got the Premier Endurance UK GT3s, and they're coming at it from Monza. So be aware on that one. That's going to be an interesting one as well. So you can tune in later for that one. Obviously, for you Aussies, unfortunately, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, give or take. But
I was looking at it. I think it was 4:40 in the morning for us Aussies. So it's you guys are ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, no, that's just 8 o'clock for us, isn't it? You know what I mean? In the evening. But yeah, no, this has been really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Looking forward to the next one and can't wait for it to get sorted out, really.
Yeah, and wish you all the best of luck with everything from Monza. For those of you who are watching along at home, if you've liked what you've seen from the Premier Endurance Racing League's GT4 action, well, there are spots for the Australian League. You can absolutely join in, jump on to Premier Endurance League, search us up on Facebook, and join the Discord server. I'm sure they're willing to see you on track for round number 4. But in the meantime, we thank you to Virtual Motorsport Mentor, and a big thank you to Gaming Gear Direct, who are the sim racing experts, and Virtual Motorsport Mentor. Even the experts have coaches. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to bring you tonight's racing action. We'll see you again later on in the evening as GT3 set off for the UK edition of Monza.